Yo, welcome back to the channel. In this video today, we're going to be going over the Stamina Warden for Stonethorn. Now, Wardens is not one of my better classes, but I do have fun playing on it, and I'm really trying my best when it comes to getting better with the Warden, because I like it. I really like the skills, the way they look, so I'm trying to find what best works for me, and this setup is one of the ones I'm having the more fun with, and I feel like I'm getting better with it as the time progresses. So, let's go ahead and dive into it. My maximum health is 17.1, my max stamina is 31.9, my stamina recovery is 1.2 unbuffed, and weapon damage is 2.8k unbuffed, and weapon crit is 47.8 unbuffed. Now, keep in mind, I am an Imperial, so you may need to make some adjustments, but I have 64.62 stamina. And like I said, I'm really when it comes to classes in general, I like to play mine. I've been playing a lot of PvP, and I love the Imperial in PvP on the Stam board. But when it comes to PvE, Orc, Dark Elf, Khajiit are your top three, followed by your Red Guard, your Imperial, and your Wood Elf. They're all those three around the same, but your top three are Orc, Dark Elf, and Khajiit, I believe in that order, or Khajiit and Dark Elf might be switched. I'm not too sure, but I know Orc is number one if you're going to try to min-max. But I'm having a lot of fun with Warden, especially in PvP, and in PvE, I'm loving it. I just wish I was better, so I'm working on it. But anyways, the boon I'm running is the Shadow. Food that we're running is basic DPS Cam Morn. So now, fully buffed. Let's go ahead and buff up here. Hit the pot. Without weapon damage proc, stuff like that, we're at 3.3, weapon damage 1.4k, stem recovery, and 57.8% crit. So it's not bad. I think with the weapon damage pot and everything, I think we're around 3.7, 3.8k. Of course, we have one of the armor sets as well. When everything's said and done, we're around 4.4k, I believe, fully buffed. So, now, champion points. I was about to jump into skills or the inventory, but champion points. I have 20 into Warlord, 23 Sprinter, 24 Bashing Focus, 64 Tenacity, 64 Mooncalf, 34 Shadow Ward, 41 Tumbling. Now, when it comes to CP points, Tenacity and Mooncalf are your number one. Mooncalf being number one, Tenacity being number two. After that, you have options. You can either go with reducing the cost of your break free and reduce the cost of your sprint, or you can start throwing points into Tumbling and Shadow Ward, or even Shade if you want to reduce the cost of sneak. If you spend a lot of time sneaking, you can go with any of those three. Now, the reason being is because Treasure Hunter. This will increase the quality of items in chests, and that is chest lock boxes, dungeon chests, trial chests, overland sets. If you pick the lock and then you pop it, this will give you better quality items out of that. This is really nice to have, especially if you're farming sets. So, because even a simple chest can become like an intermediate chest with this. So, again, it's all about RNG, but in the end, this does improve your RNG just a little bit. So, it's up to you on what you do. You can either focus on Break Free and Sprinter, or focus on getting that Treasure Hunter passive after Tenacity and Mooncalf. And honestly, if you have friends and you don't really need to be worried too much about this and you're running something on normal, or you're just running through Overland, you can take those points out and get Treasure Hunter up. That's nothing wrong, especially if you're farming for like Mother Sorrow or sets just to sell. Then Treasure Hunter might be better for you there, because it's 3k gold to respect, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so nothing wrong with that. So, Red Tree, 32 Quick Recovery, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, 40 Ironclad, 35 Spell Shield, 35 Medium Armor Focus. When it comes to the Red Tree, Hardy, Elemental Defender are your first two, your main two. They're evenly as important, followed by Ironclad. Once you get this Ironclad at least to 28, you can start focusing on other things, or you could take it up higher if you feel like you need to. You can either focus on making your character a little more tanky with the Spell Shield, Medium Armor Focus, or you increase the healing that you get. That's up to you, but I would focus on getting Hardy and Elemental Defender to 64 first, and then get Ironclad to 28 at least. So, now, when it comes to the Blue Tree, Nothing here. We're not running anything in this tree. We have 29 physical weapon expert, 56 master at arms, 40 thermometer, 61 precise strike, 20 piercing, and 64 mighty. Now, precise strike is definitely precise strike and mighty are your main two, because these will increase your physical, poison, and disease damage, and this will increase the crit damage that you do with your stamina abilities. Thermometer will increase the damage that your dots do, and then you have master at arms for your direct damage. Increase the initial hit from a direct damage, and then this will increase the damage of your light attacks, and that will increase your penetration. So I would focus on precise strike, mighty, and then probably master at arms, and then thermometer. That's just me with the stamina warden. Again, like I said, I'm not the best stamina warden, so maybe you want to focus on thermometer first. But as far as I could tell, you really don't have like one. Well, I guess with endless cell, yeah. So thermometer. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Mighty, precise strike, thermometer, and master at arms are probably both equally as important when it comes after that, followed by physical weapon expert and piercing. You know, that's just me personally. Someone, you know, you can listen to whoever. Someone else may have a different opinion on that. By all means, it's fine. It's up to you on where you feel comfortable with your character to begin with. Don't do nothing that you are not comfortable with doing. So, now, sets. First 5-piece set that we're running, or let's go and go over the monster set. Crags. Very, very easy set to get. You get it from Fungal Grotto 1. We're running a heavy helmet, divines with max stamina, and then I have medium in-pin shoulders with max stamina. You do want divines if you can get it, but nothing wrong with having at least 1 or 2 pieces and a bad trait. You can always, you know, it's the shoulders. I'm just going to keep popping chests until I get a medium one and divines. This is a 6-1 setup. You can run the 5-1-1 if you want to for more resources, but when it comes to stamina characters, 6-1 or even 7 medium tends to be the way to go. Now what this set does, it gives us physical penetration, and when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to spawn drag limbs that create shockwaves in front of you, dealing 1.9k physical damage every 0.4 seconds for 1.2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. This is a nice little setup. Nothing wrong with it. Hits hard. Now you have Selenine's as well, which gives us max stamina. This is the better monster set for me. I've had more luck running this. You do want it to be divines, and it hits for 19.4k physical damage. In fact, occur every 4 seconds. This is amazing, but I do want to showcase this on the main build. I've been having fun with both these sets. Selene's is definitely the harder hitting of the 2 sets, but Crags is a good set to have, and it just comes from Fungal Grotto 1. Very easy to get. Selene's comes from Selene's Web. And then you have Veldreth, which gives you weapon damage. When you deal damage, you have a 20% chance to spawn 3 disease spores in front of you after 1 second that deal 15.6k disease damage to the first enemy they hit. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. This is another good set. These 3 sets are definitely worth having. You can also go with Stormfist if you wanted to, but again, Stormfist is, I guess, would be a little better than Crags. Let me see here. I think I have a piece here in my bank. Let me go down to helmets here. I think I have a piece here, yeah. The shockwave is 2.1, the physical damage is 2.3. In fact, occur every 8 seconds. I think Craig's would still outperform that, personally. So, yeah. So, when it comes to monster sets, Craig's, Fungal Grotto 1, Cradle of Shadows, Veldreth, and Selene's. Selene's being the main one for me, followed by probably, you know, Crags and Veldreth. I like that physical penetration, but more weapon damage from Vel, toss up. So whichever one you feel like you like more, go for it. Personally, I like Selene's, but I want to showcase Crags. Now, the first 5-piece set that we were running got a huge buff this patch, and it is Pillar of the Nern. This comes from Falkreath Hold. I was running this on a Stamp Necro last patch, but with the changes to a few sets, like Widowmaker and Swamp Raider, I've been kind of enjoying those on the Necromancer. Honestly, you could probably put Widowmaker on any class and perform really well. If I'm not mistaken, I think I have a pair of boots here in my lockbox here. of Widowmaker. They're just blue. But as you can see, it's a huge dot poison. 27.3k blue on this one. Definitely an amazing set to have, probably for any stamina class. So use it. If you want to run this set, run it. I love it. But Pill of the Nern is another one of those sets that got changed this patch. We're running it all on the body, all in Divines. This comes from Falk Rehold. Very easy to get on normal. What this does is it gives us max stamina weapon damage. And when you deal damage, you create a fissure underneath the enemy after 1 second, dealing 6.8k physical damage to all enemies within 2.5 meters and cause them to bleed for an additional 33.4k physical damage over 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. This hits hard. Like, that is amazing. I wonder how Widowmaker and Pill of the Nern was stacked together. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to test out. So, I'll get back to y'all on that one in a later video. But right now, this set, it got a huge buff. Where initially, it was dealing 2.7k physical damage on the initial hit. It's now up to 6.8. And the dot that lasted for 10 seconds was 14.7. It is now 33.4. That is a huge buff on both parts. I'm having a lot of fun with this set, just in general. It's awesome. So, Falk Rehold, pretty easy to get on normal. Go for it. Now, back where we're in Maelstrom Bow infused with a weapon damage enchant. This drops in normal Maelstrom now. Very easy. As soon as you hit 160, or even if you're 160 getting there on normal, farm this bow. At least run it once a day. It's going to increase the damage volley deals by 430 each tick. The bonus increases by 143 every time volley ticks, up to a maximum of 8 times. Now, this will add 2 to 3k to your DPS alone. So it's definitely worth getting in there and getting, because that extra 2 to 3k on on normal is very, very easy to it's worth it, that extra 2 to 3k from the Maelstrom Bow. Sorry, getting promoted there. I didn't realize the rank was the cheese. That's pretty interesting. I like that. But this is worth farming. Go for it. Go get it. 1.6. At least run it once a day. It's not that complicated. Set out 20 to 30 minutes and just go get it. Or at least go run Maelstrom for the day. And there are a bunch of sets in there that are worth having. I mean, Winterborn's pretty nice this patch, and so is Elemental Succession. Both of them sets are really fun to have. Plus, there's a set in there that I tried out for a little bit on the Stem Necro, or not on the Stem Necro, but on this set on the Warden. I think I got a pair of gloves on me right now. No, I do know I have a waist though. It's called the Hunt, if I'm not mistaken. Apparently, I cannot find a piece of it anywhere. Pants. Oh, y'all getting a little look into my bank. Alright, Bracers of the Hunt. There it is. I think I might have been trying it out on the Necro too for a little bit. I think that's where most of the pieces went. But it gives us max stam weapon damage, and when your pet attacks an enemy you have also attacked in the last 10 seconds, you heal for 2.3k health and restore 1.1k stamina. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. So it's a nice little heal and a nice little resource management, but it's nice for solo play if you're just doing solo dungeons and stuff like that. But I felt like the damage was lacking, because it's not really a damage set. It's more of a sustain set, solo set. So even you get that out of Maelstrom as well. So Call of the Hunt, Elemental Succession, Winterborn, 3 really good sets out of there that you can get in body pieces and weapons. So it's still worth running on normal, even if you don't get the bow or whatever. It's 3 good sets worth getting. Now, the second 5-piece set that we're running is Briarheart. We're running a Precise Axe with an Absorb Stamina enchant and a Nern Dagger with a Poison enchant on it. This dagger is a name drop from a quest that takes maybe the whole 15 minutes to do if you don't, even if you read the story. The quest is right around in here, and it's basically just running around finding some survivors of a shipwreck. It comes powered, but you can always transmute that. Just get the get the axe like infused, precise, sharpened. Any of them traits will work. and then the dagger just transmute that powered weapon into Nern, and you're good to go. Now, this comes from Rothguard, the whole set. And what it does, it gives us weapon crit, max stam, weapon crit. And when you deal critical damage, you increase your weapon damage by 450 for 10 seconds. While this effect is active, your critical strikes heal you for 349 health. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Both these sets are really easy to get, especially Pillar of the Nern. Maybe not so much now that it got such a huge buff. Maybe people might actually want to keep it. But for the most part, originally nobody really wanted to keep Pillar of the Nern because it was a decent set, but it wasn't anywhere near like it is now. So I do have purple, gold jewelry, not purple. All bloodthirsty, all weapon damage. I do use this quite a bit, so I have transmuted those. But nothing wrong with robust. You can always use it if you want to. You can leave it robust until you get the jewelry, work on transmuting the other pieces. But bloodthirsty does help us overall once the enemy, as the enemy dips, increases our damage a little bit. So, actually not really a little bit, a lot. So, but nothing wrong with robust, nothing wrong with purple. It's up to you. So, definitely this is a setup. It's really nice. I'm loving the Warden. Just wish I was a little better. But anyways, when it comes to the skill, our spam bull is Cutting Dive. We commanded Cliff Racer to dive bomb an enemy, dealing 8.7k physical damage. If you are more than 7 meters away from the target, you set them off balance for 7 seconds. If the enemy is already off balance, the Cliff Racer rips through them, causing them to bleed for 8.7k physical damage over 7 seconds. This effect can stack. That's crazy. So a lot of times, they will be off balance. They're not off balance right now, but they should be now. And then you can just see it. Boom. You see the Cliff Racer. You see Pillar of the Nern going off there. And you also saw Drex. The little limbs come up out of my back. That's Drex. Yeah, I kind of like that effect. It's pretty cool. So, let me call my bear back. So, boop, come here. So, alright, bring the bear back. So, as you can see, it bleeds off balance. And for the most part, running up, what? Okay, he came back. For the most part, starting out, most tanks, if they're running a lightning staff or healers will drop their wall of elements first, which usually sets enemies off balance pretty quick. So normally you should get that bleed from the Cliff Racer before you get to this rotation of spam. This is your main spam bull. You're going to have your dots and other things to put up first. So by the time you get to this ability, it should just kind of rip through them. So, Subterranean Assault. Stir a group of shock that attack after 3 seconds, dealing 13.5 poison damage to enemies in front of you. Enemies' damage are afflicted with major fracture, reducing their physical resistance by 5.2 for 6 seconds. This is kind of good for solo play, but in most dungeons, the tank should be using Pierce Armor or Ransack, whatever it is that they're using, but that should give major fracture. So, not necessarily a big deal on that second one, but by yourself, it comes in handy. Growing Swarm. Unleash a swarm of Fetraflies to relentless attack an enemy, causing them to bleed for 14.5 seconds, or 14.5k physical damage over 10 seconds. The Fetraflies rip through the original enemy's flesh, afflicting them with minor vulnerability for the duration, increasing their damage taken by 8%. Enemies near the carrier take 1.6k physical damage every 2 seconds for the duration. So it is kind of like a little small AoE, just to kind of increase the damage to adds around them. And then we have our heal here on our front bar. Let loose a battle cry, installing your self-resolve and healing for 13.8k health over 4 seconds. You can put Barb Trap here on the front, put Revigor on the back, but it's not that big of a difference. And even with having the Fighter's Guild ability on the front bar, it only takes us up to I think it's like 2.9. So I think it only increases our damage, our initial weapon damage on our front bar, I think by like 60 points. It's not that much. So this gives us about a 1k, I think it's like a 1.7k heal, more of a heal on our front bar than our back bar. So I kind of have it on, so it's not that much of a difference. I would rather have the extra 1k heal than the extra 60k weapon damage on my front bar. That's just me personally. If you prefer to have dead away, by all means switch this out. Now we have Birds of Prey. As you can see, we're running it on both of our front bar and our back bar. Invoke the Spirit of Agility to gain major expedition for 6 seconds, increase your movement speed by 30%, while slotted, gain minor berserk, increase your damage down by 8%. We're running this here over Camouflage Hunter because of the Animal Companion's passive. While we have this here, for increase your damage down by 2% for each Animal Companion ability slotted, we have a 10% because we have 5 slotted on our front bar. We have Cutting Dive, Subterranean Assault, Swarm, Birds of Prey, and Wild Guardian. Now, that's why we have Birds of Prey on both bars. On our back bar, we only get an extra 6% because we have the Bear, the Birds of Prey, and the Bull Niche. So, at least this way the damage drop off from our front to the back bar is only 4%. But it is nice to have. That's why I have this here over the Camouflaged Hunter. I feel like this is better than that little small extra weapon damage you get for having it on your front bar. Plus, I'm using power pods. If you're not using power pods, by all means, having Camouflaged Hunter here might do you better because you won't have to. You can get away with using trash pods. I use weapon power pods on my front bar. In general on this, if it's just normal, I use the essence of stamina, but major savagery is really nice and we get that from our weapon power. But if you just want to use trash pods, you will get your major brutality from your Betty niche and just replace Birds of Prey with Camouflage Hunter and you will get your major savagery. Of course, Camouflage Hunter is the expert hunter from the fire skill passive, or from the fire skill line, so that can save you from using weapon power pods, right there. Now, you can get away with using trash pods. And then we have Wild Guardian here. Rouse a Grizzly to fight by your side. The Grizzly swipes at an enemy, dealing 3.5k physical damage, and sometimes swipes all enemies in front of it, dealing 14.1k physical damage, and stunning them for 2 seconds. Once summoned, you can activate Guardian Savagery for 72 ultimate, causing the Grizzly to maul an enemy for 15.9k physical damage, deals 100% more damage to enemies below 25% health. This is nice just to have. It's a nice little pet, and you have to double bar it. If you don't double bar it, then he will disappear. It's very similar to a necromancer, not a necromancer, but a sorcerer's pet. If he's not double barred, he will go away. Apparently he is the only one that I have here. So we'll just throw Secluded Grove here on our back bar, and as you can see, he vanishes. So you want him on both bars, so that way he stays up and alive. So that's what we want, as you can see. So now, back bar. Poison injection. Shoot an arrow coated in Bandera poison at an enemy, dealing 4.2k poison damage, additional 8.3k poison damage over 10 seconds. Deals 95% more damage to enemies under 50% health. When this is max, it's going to deal 100% more damage to enemies under 50% health. So I think I might under 50% health might be higher, but it will do 100% more damage once it is fully leveled. I'm just really bad about making sure abilities that need to be leveled up, or when I turn in quests or finish random dungeons, that I'm actually on the bar with a skill that needs to level up. I'm bad about that, so I need to get in better habit of that. So just make sure that, like poison injection, barb trap here, you need to get them ranked up. Unfortunately, I have not. So just make sure when you're doing your randoms or you're turning in quests that you are on your bar of skills that need to be leveled up. I'm bad about it. Just don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes. So anyways, Endless Hell. Launch multiple arrows into the sky to rain down, doing 1.3k physical damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second for 12 seconds after a 2-second delay. This lasts for 14. It's only going to last for 11 seconds originally, but once it's fully ranked up, it will last for 14 seconds. You can go with Arrow Barrage as well. It lasts for 10 seconds, but I just have better luck with the Endless Hell. I'm still trying to get down the rotation to have it perfected, but Subterranean Assault, it's kind of like Blast Bombs with a Necro. Gives me a little trouble. So making sure I have that. You get so used to having Subterranean Assault up, makes everything a whole lot better. So, Bull Niche. Plus, Endless Hell definitely gets its perks off of Maelstrom Arena. So, or the Maelstrom bow. So it's definitely worth having. Either way, even if you don't have the Maelstrom bow, it's definitely worth having. Still use Endless Hell, but with the Maelstrom bow, this takes this ability to a whole nother level. So now we have Bull Netch. Call a Bull Netch to your side, which restores 4.9k stamina to you over 25 seconds. Grant you major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Every 5 seconds, the Netch removes one negative effect from you. Even if you're using weapon power pots, you're going to use this Bull Netch because this is going to help you with your resource management. So you can still use trash pods even if you're using this, but even if you're using weapon power pots, don't take this off. This helps you with your resource management, and it's worth having. I've ran across a few stamina wardens that don't use this because they are using weapon power pots, and you can just tell about halfway through the monster's HP, they're throwing out heavy attacks left and right. They don't have that resource management that they get from the Bull Netch, or maybe they're just not timing their potions right. I don't know. But you still want to use this regardless. And then we have Barb Trap here. When triggered, the trap deals 4.2k physical damage and an additional 13.3 physical damage over 16 seconds, and grants you minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10% for the duration. Fully ranked up, this will last for 18 seconds instead of 16 seconds. Either way, I tend to overcast this because as I'm bar swapping, 14 seconds, it only has 2 seconds left on it to begin with. So you might as well go ahead and use it anyways. 2 seconds, unless you want to bar swap every, for another, and you get through, you might be able to get this off, and you'll have to bar swap, use this, use subterranean. It's just pit pain. Just keep it static. Go ahead and overcast this. So, and then against Birds of Prey, we just have a double bard, and then we have this double bard anyways, as we've went over previously. So when it comes to rotation, you're going to hit this. You're going to hit your weapon power pot or your essence of stamina, whichever one you want to use first, because it's going to give you more recovery to start out with. So we're going to use trash pots just to go over the rotation, and then Barb Trap, Endless Hell, Poison Ejection, Subterranean, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean, Cutting Dive, Endless Hell, Poison Injection, Barb Trap, Subterranean Assault, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive. Use your ultimate, Bar Swap, Endless Hell, Poison Injection, Bandera, Subterranean Assault, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive, and repeat. It is kind of a complicated rotation, but it's just Endless Hell, Bandera, Barb Trap, or you're going to start Barb Trap, Subterranean Assault, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive. You can hit Subterranean Assault too before you backbar. Endless Hell. Now the main thing is to keep Subterranean Assault up and going. It is the one thing that it lasts for 3 seconds. So as you start, I've even seen some people, you can even start off with Subterranean Assault. So you can Subterranean Assault, run up, Barb Trap, Endless Hell, Bandera Poison, Subterranean Assault, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean Assault, Cutting Dive. You can hit a Subterranean Assault before you backbar swap. It's entirely, the main thing is getting that Subterranean Assault off every 3 seconds. So that's kind of where the rotation kind of becomes a pain, but it's not as complicated as it sounds as you get used to it. Like, I'm having fun with it. It is different throughout most rotations, especially with Blast Bones. Is very similar to the Subterranean Assault because it does normally take about 3 seconds as well. So it's, Blast Bones normally takes me about 4 seconds for it to go off. Also depends on whether or not it wants to cooperate and hit the target. Sometimes it just runs circles around it. But with Subterranean Assault, it's 3 seconds every time. You can see it down there in the bottom. So, and as you can see, it's pretty far away. I wasn't expecting that to land. My bad. And you can see Pillar and Urn going off there. I mean, it does quite a bit of damage by itself. So, Subterranean Assault is the main thing you want to keep that in mind. And you can see it going off down there. Uh, Starting out, the DPS may seem a little off, but as you get more and more used to the Subterranean Assault, make sure that's going off. That will improve your DPS more than anything. It is kind of a dynamic rotation to begin with, so you can go Subterranean, Barb Trap, Endless Hell, Bandera, Subterranean, Growing Swarm, Cutting Dive, Subterranean, Cutting Dive, and then just bar swap. It's one of these, you know, do whatever it helps. And my bear isn't up, and I went to cast it. My bad. So, as long as you have Subterranean Assault down every 3 seconds, it's not going to make a huge difference. You can definitely pull out a lot of DPS as long as you're making sure Subterranean Assault is down. That's the main, from what I've learned with the Warden, the Subterranean Assault is the main ability that is going to give you your DPS. So whatever you do, no matter what kind of rotation you're using, no matter how you do things, no matter what your spammable is, Subterranean Assault is key in the rotation. So, let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of rotation you use. Let me know what kind of sets you use. I love hearing from different people. I love seeing what people are running. As you can see, I don't mind trying out anything. So, let me know how you're enjoying your Wardens. Let me know what kind of setups you use. So, as always, until next time, y'all have a great day.